Let's take a look at this. Of course, you've got directions for it, but I'm going to use that for my knee pad. And here's the whole fixture. And hey, look at that. Lucky for us. See, there's two screws that are going to screw that right into the wood. I kind of like that. I was hoping that, oh, actually, you know what? Those two screws are for a bracket here. See this? Now this bracket is designed to fit in a metal box. And you would screw this onto the box. We don't have a box, do we? We would have to screw that right onto the wood. And then we can, and then see, I could take that and run this bracket straight. And then this one sideways, because that's how this is going to go. This is going to go right in there, and it's going to fit. Here's your little screws that fit through there. And see, it comes with a little ground screw. But see, we don't have a ground screw up there, do we? We do not. If you had a ground wire on there, you would hook it onto that. Okay, because on the back side of here, there's a ground wire. But we don't have a ground up there. We've got only a black and a white wire, because years ago, that's all they had was a black and white wire. And they probably grounded the, well, they should ground, if that was in a metal box, they would have grounded that with a bare copper wire, ran it all the way back to the electrical panel, hooked it to all the other light fixtures and all that. So, you know what I'm thinking? I'm wondering if it could be simple as taking my screws from the other light fixture. Remember the surface mounted screws? Where are they? They're kind of a slightly different color though. Oh, they're just sheetrock screws. You see here, that's all they use. They use a sheetrock screw, and then they painted the tip of it the same color as the light fixture. Remember, that was the surfaced screws. Remember, this one looks almost the same as the other one. And they ran these screws right like that, ka-doink. And my thinking is that I could take this light fixture, and it looks like the screws might even be lined up with this one here. Look at that. I could use the same screw holes and everything, I believe. And I would use these screws, and I could just use these screws and put them right back in there like that. And then if I had a felt tip pin, I can just blacken that out, you know. And then I wouldn't need that, I wouldn't need to use this housing at all, would I? Wouldn't need to use this at all. That's something I'm thinking about doing here. I also noticed that it came with some wire nuts, and these are kind of small, and these would work in a perfect world, but you see, these are the old wire nuts, and these are just a hair bigger, see? And the way they've got the wire up there is they folded it over on themselves to make it bigger so that this would work on the small stranded wire. And that's kind of slick, because that was the only size wire nuts they had, was these yellows. They probably didn't have some orange ones. And see, had they have hooked that up to that, it might have stripped a little bit. And so they took that wire, the end, and they folded it over on itself. Do you see there? See how they folded it over? That's kind of a cool idea. Then the stranded wire went on that from the light fixture, and then they were able to use their wire nuts they had. And I like that, and that's how I'm going to hook this back up. I'm going to use their yellow wire nuts, because the orange ones would be too small. The only way I'd be able to do it is I'd have to unfold that copper bit and cut that off, and then I could use the other wire nuts, but you know, don't have to do that. So see, that's all I've got to deal with. White to white, black to black, simple as that. And I've made a corporate decision, and that's what I'm gonna do. So before I go up there, got my yellow wire nuts that I'm gonna use. And see, this is stranded wire. Stranded wire means there's a whole lot of small little wires. And that copper solid wire up there is one piece. See all those little pieces? So what I like to do is take that and kind of just spin it like that to make it one, make it all together. Okay, that's going to hold onto that wire nut easier. See, if I just set it up there like that, chances are maybe some of those strands aren't going to come together, and maybe some of them are going to fold back like this, and I'm only going to get a little bit on there, and I don't get a proper connection or something. So I like to just spin this around like that. Okay, I'm going to hook black to black, white to white, and guess what? I'm not going to use the ground wire because the other light fixture did not have the ground wire hooked up, and there's no ground up there to connect to, is there? So that is going to stay in there. This light fixture is going to be no different than the other one. The other one has been up there for probably the length of the time this home has been built, and guess what? This is going to last for many years to come. But if you have a ground wire up there, hook it up.